I think I disappeared.
Yep, you're gone from the shoulder down, Frank.
having a
Anyway,
having a little problem with the electrical here today. I'm glad it was. I'm glad you're humored by it. I know I am.
of course.
Uh, well, we always talk about technology and it being a bit of a headache. So there you go. You get to see one where I was Max Headroom there for a second. That's a reference for a show that maybe you might remember as a child,
I
if you
do.
remember it at all.
Matt Frewer, good show.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly, Matt Fur. Okay, so why don't I start the show by saying I'm Frank Stanisci. He's Aaron William Freeland, and you're watching Candid Frank Live. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now, joining me is Aaron William Freeland. Aaron, the big story today is one that means Horvat has finally been traded, and by finally I mean it's been a while since both parties knew there was no future. And I tell you, I think a lot of the fact that he wasn't with the team and the skids that they were on not only contributed to his being traded, but I think also for a bit of a sinking ship going on in Vancouver. Um, Emotions drive a team positively and negatively. In the case of Vancouver, they didn't quite have their mojo or their best mojo.
No, I mean, parts of it, sometimes it was there, sometimes it was not. As with any team that is going through a tear down or a rebuild, these sorts of things are going to happen. Not to mention the clash of different personalities and, JT Miller getting an extension, which might have been a little bit too rich for the Canucks' blood. Um, and injuries. Ilya Mikheyev is now shut down for the season with a torn ACL. It was only a matter of time. But Vancouver sent Bo Horvat to the New York Islanders today in exchange for Anthony Beauvillier, Atu Rati, and a protected 2023 first round draft pick. So
And
captain
protected
is out,
means
new
that if
blood is
it
in.
yeah, and protected means that if it becomes the first overall pick, Vancouver doesn't get it.
Exactly.
So yeah, well, hey, look, um, if Vancouver can beat the odds, and by the odds I mean them to beat, are the ones that entitle them to a young kid named Bedard. Maybe it'll be worth it. But here's the thing that one needs to remember: the Edmonton Oilers made a career in the last decade of getting first overall picks, and it didn't work out well for them. So there's no guarantee just because you get a first overall pick, even when he works out to being the best player in the world, apparently.
No, this is true. I mean, you look at all of the first round draft picks that came through Edmonton, 6 out of 10 years, and look at where they are currently, and it's not a guarantee for success. There are other pieces that go into this sort of thing. You can't just rely on the number ones all the time. They're not necessarily the ones who get you there.
Let's go to the Canadian Football League. The Ticats sign American receiver Omar Bayless and others.
So, yeah, there were a few signings. The Ticats did sign Omar. They also signed two other players as well. We're looking at here. We're looking at Gay and Hill Jr. Now, Nicholas Gay spent training camp with the Ticats in 2022 after being selected 64th overall in the 2022 draft. They decided to bring him back. He was a member of Laval's Vanier Cup winning team in 2018. The other that was signed was a defensive back, Tyrone Hill Jr., who played 6 games at Washington State University in 2021, registering 20 tackles, 2.5 tackles for a loss, and 2 pass breakups. So adding interesting pieces there. We'll see how that works out for them.
Yeah, we'll see. Staying with the Ticats, it's reported that 1.6 and change is what the Ticats are paying Bo Levi Mitchell over 3 years. That's over 500,000 a year. They're paying him.
Oh, they're going as far as they can under the current cap to make sure that he gets what they feel he's worth. And as far as I'm concerned, if they want to pay him that much, he's worth it.
I don't know if that really correlates, but okay, I'll go. I think they paid too much. The Red Blacks extend linebacker Griffin, sign 8 others.
So Griffin is coming back to the Red Blacks for his second season. In 2022, he suited up in 8 games and had 35 tackles. The others that they've signed are global defensive back Idris Jean-Alphonse, American linebacker Patrick Nelson, American defensive lineman Wallace Cowens, American defensive back Isaiah Huff, American defensive lineman Bryce Rogers, American wide receiver Malik Williams, American defensive back Al Young, and national defensive lineman Philippe Lemieux-Cardinal. So all of those gentlemen are now on their roster. We'll see where they shake out when it comes to training camp.
Absolutely. Let's go to lacrosse, one of our favorite sports, and we'll start with 2 teams that matter a lot to this show, Toronto and Calgary.
So over the weekend, Toronto actually got to travel out west to play the Calgary Roughnecks. It was a bit of a back and forth game. Toronto was up 4-1 at the end of the first quarter. At one point was up 6-1 in the second before Calgary came back to make it close 7-5. They actually finally ended up going to overtime where Toronto managed to put it away 11-10. A bit of a nail biter. I don't think that's exactly what they wanted to do, but Nick Rose had 35 saves and Christian Del Bianco had 32.
Absolutely. Then you have Halifax hosting Rochester.
So this is a battle of old Halifax versus old Rochester versus new Rochester. The Halifax Thunderbirds ended up winning that one 17-7. This game was not really close by any stretch of the imagination. The Thunderbirds really turned it on in the fourth quarter, though, outscoring the Nighthawks 8-1 to finally salt it away.
Vegas was in Saskatchewan.
So this was interesting. Desert Dogs have actually been decent this year for an expansion team. Now they did end up losing 15-10 to the Saskatchewan Rush, but this is an NLL team with pedigree, so it's not really a surprise that they ended up on the wrong side of the score. But it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Well, we had an assistant coach on our show with Gary, the NLL Lacrosse show, and his team did a number on Vancouver, 20-7.
Yeah, Panther City put up a decent score. They were up 15-6 at the half. I don't really think the game was ever really in doubt.
Doesn't sound like it.
No, it really doesn't at all. They ended up running away with it completely. You got to feel bad. Vancouver has been having a lot of struggles this year. There's been a lot of turmoil. But yeah, they got blanked in the third quarter and had 1 goal in the fourth. After only scoring 6 in the first half, it's pretty difficult to win an NLL game when you're getting outscored that badly.
Anaheim, Arizona, talking NHL now.
A bit of trash talking going on between Trevor Zegras and Troy Stetcher. There were various reports as to what was actually said, including Zegras apparently it was postulated mocking Stetcher for losing his father to complications due to diabetes in 2020. That was later confirmed to not be the case, but the league and the officials on the ice deemed it bad enough that Zegras was given a 10-minute misconduct for what he said. So time will tell, and we'll be keeping an eye on the punishment sheets to see exactly what he's being punished with, if he's punished with anything other than the 10-minute game misconduct.
The next story, I'm not blaming Russian players because we don't know the facts, but the Rangers inexplicably ditched promoted Pride Night warm-up jerseys. There have been a couple of situations, and each time it ended up being Russians that had issue, especially Russians of Orthodox, Anyway, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, after sending out emails to season ticket holders advertising that they would be wearing a Pride jersey, stating that there would be sticks and other memorabilia that was available, the New York Rangers inexplicably decided to just ditch it and not do anything with it. So they are offering the jerseys for sale, but they're not game worn and they're not warm up worn, which just puts a ding in their value and really hurts the charities that they're trying to raise funds for. No actual answer has been forthcoming from the New York Rangers about this. I guess they felt that having Michael James Scott and Andre Thomas out there to sing the anthem and drop the puck was sufficient, despite pushing the fact that they were going to be having these pride jerseys to the people who are coming to the game. So we'll have to see where this leads. If it's a case of the minority dictating what happens to the majority, it's a truly shameful situation. The NHL is great about saying hockey is for everyone, but they're terrible at showing that hockey.
Yeah, but you can't make the players do what they don't want to do, and I suspect that's where the rubber's hitting the road here. That's only a suspicion on my part. I have no reason. I shouldn't say I have no reason. What I can say, I repeat what I said earlier. There have been a couple of problems with this situation, and each time it's been a Russian that has been the chink in the armor for making it happen. I understand. Aaron, I'm not really a big fan of promoting anyone or demoting anyone, because I think they're the same thing. Promoting and demoting people is the same thing in my mind, because by promoting one group, you're denying everybody else. That's what it can look like. Preference becomes maybe the issue. And in this case, I'm just saying that's the leg I think we'll find that they're standing on, is that people don't want to be force-fed stuff, even though it could be very justifiably expected. But at the end of the day, you can't make people do things, that in itself. Here, where this is we're back to Vancouver again. The same thing. Totally screwing something up that they could handle if they handled it in-house first. This is a case where somebody wasn't listening because somebody pushed back. That's what it looks like. Now, again, this is all assumption on my part, but I consider it an educated guess.
Oh, there's an awful lot of when's straight pride going to be, going around out there in response to these
See,
Pride Night jerseys, and it's
I'm
like,
not trying to engage in that conversation. That's not what I'm
no,
trying to do.
I understand
be the
that
devil's
completely.
advocate.
I'm just saying a lot of the justification for not wearing it is, well, if they're doing gay pride, when's straight pride, and that's not how it works.
And it came out
if
last
you're going
time
to do this
happened.
sort of thing, at least have an opt-out where players don't have to wear it if they want. At least that way we know who the individuals
that's what
are
happened
that
with
are
Philly.
against these sorts of things.
But Aaron, that's what happened with Philly when it just happened a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Same thing, right? Russian Orthodox religion was defined, and it was the reason for not going out there and wearing the jersey. It was, it's an orthodoxy thing. I don't get it. I don't get it. Unless you've seen what happens, and unless you've witnessed what happens to gay people or what's happened to gay people in the past. I'm old enough to remember what it was like. So sometimes people don't understand the hurdles and the pain that people have gone through. But again, it comes down to forcing people to do what they don't believe. And, when it comes to certain situations, people just feel so strongly about something, right or wrong. They feel so strongly about it, ends up like this. And I hope this is the last time a National Hockey League team puts themselves in this kind of position. With the Vancouver thing, I was just trying to make the connection that management isn't listening. They're not paying attention to what they're doing. They're forgetting to consider the ramifications of what they did and what they allowed to happen. The same thing's true here. Upper management's trying to make the players do something because they feel they're justified in making the request. Well, then they come down to the level of the players, and the players say, no. And if they're afraid to battle the players, this is what happens.
Well,
Somebody
another thing
blinks.
that's coming out of New York is that the players themselves didn't say they didn't want to do it. Management was just, oh, hey, no, we're not doing it.
It was strictly a management thing?
Strictly a management thing. It did not appear to be coming from the players this time around.
So does that mean then that somebody was making calls and spoke to the right person and made the right comment? Because they're going back on their word, right? Because the word was they were going to do it. This is going to be an interesting story.
Yep. No,
We'll have to get on that one.
it's going to be one that we'll be following anxiously in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, we're going to be here. This is going to be another Vancouver Canucks thing, I think. I'm starting to think it's going to be another one of those where the National Hockey League and Gary Bettman at the front are going to. It's just more egg. It's just lots of egg, and this time it's New York. That's a lot of egg. If it happens in New York,
that's a big one. That's a really big
lot of egg. Let's go to the Habs and Sens.
Sure. So things are going well for Montreal. Not. Says the Senators lay the boots to the Canadiens 5-0. He scored twice in that and an assist. The Sens are currently riding a 3-game win streak. Ottawa came off a 6-2 win over Toronto on Friday, and they're now 6-2-0 in their last 8 games at home and are a perfect 24-for-24 on the penalty kill. DeBrincat, Joseph, and Brassard also scored for Ottawa, while Anton Forsberg made 28 saves. Montembeault stopped 31 of 36 for the Canadiens. He's playing. He's not getting the scoring support that he needs.
Absolutely. And I don't know. It'd be interesting if Ottawa can make the playoffs. Be very interesting. They could be a nightmare for Boston.
One can hope.
There you go. Let's talk about the Flames, and the tag says "Home Sweet Home."
So Lindholm, Elias Lindholm got 3 points, and Vladar tied a franchise record as the Flames beat the Kraken 5-2. This is coming off of a 5-1 loss 24 hours earlier to the Blackhawks, which never should have happened. The Flames were looking to bounce back. Elias Lindholm scored a goal and added a pair of assists on 3 straight Flames goals in the first period after they fell behind 1-0. Vladar got the start and made 29 saves. He's now 10-0-3 in his last 13 starts, which is the longest active point streak amongst goaltenders so far this season. There's the record. Tyler Toffoli, Nikita Zadorov, Noah Hannafin, and Blake Coleman with an empty netter also scored for Calgary, who are now 6-1 all-time against the Seattle Kraken.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the Oilers.
So e-bugs seem to be becoming more of a thing. The goalie that they had was an e-bug. First it was Carolina Hurricanes manager Jorge Alves, then it was Scott Foster, then it was David Ayers, then Thomas Hodges. Now we're looking at the latest e-bug hero. So congratulations to that. They replaced Jack Campbell with University of Alberta Dinosaurs goalie Matt Berlin, who managed to fulfill his childhood dream and become the 5th emergency netminder to play minutes in an NHL game. So congratulations to him.
And come up big.
Yeah, it was a 7-3 win on Saturday.
Absolutely. Jets, Hartnett's shutout versus Flyers, flattened Jets 4-0 as Flyers.
Yeah, the Jets seem to have stalled a little bit here. Now, the Philadelphia Flyers, this is the last game that they're playing before the All-Star break, so they've got a significant chunk of time off right now. Noah Cates scored a goal and an assist to help the Flyers blank the Jets. Hart made 40 saves to get his first shutout of the year for Philly, who are 21-21-9. They're 7-1-1 in their last 9 road games. So Philly appears to have found the magic formula when they're on the road, just not so much at home.
With the Canucks, Pettersson ensures or at least enhances and mitigates the possibility that he will be the best player in the short term in Vancouver by scoring 2 goals and getting points for Vancouver. That those of us who want to see Bedard end up there.
Yeah, he had 2 goals. Bo Horvat had 4 assists in the 5-2 win against the Blue Jackets at Rogers Arena on Friday. This was also the same day that Ilya Mikheyev got shut down. He is currently having surgery to repair a torn ACL in his knee, which he sustained during a September 25th preseason game. Now, a lot of Vancouver fans were very upset with the Canucks for letting him play as long as they did. But Ilya, in a press release, made it clear that it was his decision to continue playing, not management's. And he finally decided to shut it down close to the All-Star break.
There you go. The Maple Leafs, Morgan Riley pointed at the top right corner and said, "Tomorrow, kids, I'll do it."
He was getting a fair amount of grief from kids during the Easter Seal Skate. Apparently, there was more than one that asked him when he was finally going to score. And when he finally did pot it, that look on his face of pure relief, like getting that monkey off your back. But yeah, it was. He scored during the second period, and it's absolutely fantastic that they managed to seal down the win in John Tavares' 1,000th game. So kudos to the Leafs for managing to pull that out. The good news is with that win and Boston's loss to the Carolina Hurricanes, they actually managed to keep pace. Both teams have gone 6-3-1 in the last 10 games.
And which means the Leafs haven't lost any ground in the past 10 to the Bruins.
No.
But the Bruins have hit
they're
their
not gaining any,
3-game slide. They lost 3 in a row.
Yeah, and they finally lost again to the Hurricanes, who beat the Bruins 4-1 over the weekend.
Absolutely. Another thing on the Leafs is there was talk about Matthews not coming back to the playoffs, pulling one of those Tampa Bay moves.
And you know what? Honestly, it would give us room to get some players before the deadline with the amount of money that half the season. Yeah, with the money that half a season of LTIR could free up for them. And seeing as salary cap doesn't count during the playoffs, they could be pulling a Kucherov.
Well, they'd have $11 million that they could put on the roster right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's $5.5 million per player. That's 2 pretty good players.
Most definitely.
Maybe that Kane thing does happen.
I wouldn't be averse to Patrick Kane coming here. I think that could be interesting. It'd be nice to see if he can slot himself in and maybe rejuvenate himself a little bit. Be one of those building and reclamation products that the Leafs are so well known for.
I think the biggest thing there would be, Aaron, the confidence and the opportunity to win a cup again. Being a Blackhawk, he wants to end up being a Blackhawk. But I don't think between now and him ending his career, and he can as a Blackhawk, I don't think another Stanley Cup would be frightening to him.
No, you know what? And if he happens to win it in Toronto, as long as he can retire wearing the Blackhawks hat, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that's what's going to happen. Well, Aaron, thank you for doing this, buddy.
Appreciate it, Frank.
Okay, he's Aaron William Freeland. I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching Candid Frank Live, Aaron, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Candid Frank Live, other news, entertainment, and sports programming we offer, please check out Spanglish World, spanglishworld.ca. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Ciao for now.